Hello dear friends. In this lecture, we are going to learn unit number a critical term from unit number 1 of literary criticism, imagery. First, let's see the definition of imagery. Imagery is an important literary device used to create images in the mind of the readers and to appeal to their senses and imagination. It involves the use of figurative language to represent objects, actions, and ideas in such a way that it appeals to our physical senses. So, imagery is an important device used by the writers. Uh, by using imagery, the writers give us experience through our sense organs. Um, in our imagination, we see certain uh, things, we smell something, we feel that we are touching something, we feel or we hear sounds in imagination um, because of the imagery. So we feel um, the things with our sense organs. uh, we can understand imagery with the help of some examples. The word imagery is associated with mental pictures, means we experience things in our mind or in our imagination. For example, it was dark and dim in the forest. So when we read this line, the darkness or the dim atmosphere of the forest comes before our eyes. We visualize or we see the dark forest with our mind's eye, uh, or in our imagination. We experience the scene of that dark forest. So the words dark and dim are visual images, means they create that darkness or dim atmosphere before our eyes. In the next example, the children were screaming and shouting in the fields. Here, when we read the words screaming and shouting, we feel that as if we are listening to that, that particular noise or shouting and screaming of the children, as if we are, as if children are shouting and we are listening to that sound in our image. So experience that noise or that sense of hearing with our or in our mind or in our imagination. So in this way, we can find that um, based on these sense organs, um, there are five types, major five types of imagery. These major five types of imagery are as following: visual imagery, uh, that's related to sight, means the words uh, about color, shape, size, pattern, they create uh, the visual image of a particular thing, and in our mind or in our imagination we experience that we are actually seeing that particular thing. um, as you know, in simile also, we know when we learn the literary device or the figure of speech simile, there was one example that my love is like a red red rose. So in that line, uh, the poet has used a simile, but at the same time we find that the image of a red rose is used. So when we read the line that red rose comes before our eyes, we experience that red rose with our eyes in our imagination. Means we actually see that, we don't actually see it, but we see that red rose um, in our mind. We imagine red rose um, and we experience how it looks very beautiful. So, in our minds or with our mind's eye, we see certain things, um, certain colors or certain shapes. Hmm? So, that we call visual imagery. Second is auditory imagery, means the words related to hearing or sound. They create auditory imagery. Some of the words, when we read some words, we feel that we are listening to a particular sound. Sometimes the sounds may be enjoyable or maybe noises, uh, as we see, as we saw in the in the example, shouting and screaming sound of the children. So, or maybe, in, for example, if you say hissing of the snake, so when we read the word hissing, um, as we think that as if we are listening to that snake's hissing sound. In our imagination we experience that sound. Sometimes some words create silence also. That experience of silence also is created through the words. Next type of imagery is olfactory imagery, which is related to smell, or which we experience with our nose. Uh, this type of imagery includes fragrances or odors also. Fragrance means the very very good smell, which pleases our mind, and odor means, dirty smell. We don't like that. So sometimes the words related to fragrance or odors are used, and those create that particular smell, or we experience that particular smell in our imagination with our sense organ. Then gustatory imagery is related to taste. So our taste organ, our tongue, sometimes when we read some of the words we experience that as if we are tasting something, or we are eating something that means in our mouth, or with the help of tongue we experience in our imagination the particular taste of that particular object, or mm, or food item. So it's related, it may be sweetness or sourness or bitterness or saltiness and spiciness. So, if the word, chocolate, when we read the word chocolate, we feel that as if, or we experience the taste of the chocolate in our imagination. Um, so, such type of words are called as related to taste, are called as gustatory imagery, or they belong to gustatory imagery. And then tactile imagery. Tactile imagery is related to touch, means some of the words are used in such a way that as if we are touching and feeling the texture, or the mm, the smooth or rough surface, mm, sometimes, or maybe sometimes we are experiencing the movement, or maybe temperature also. The words related to heat and cold create such type of feel or touch in our mind, and we experience that with our skin particularly. So these are the different types of imagery. Then let's see some examples of imagery used in literature. Uh, Here's one example from Robert Frost After Apple Picking poem. The poet says, I feel the ladder sway as the boughs bend, and I keep hearing from the cellar beam the rumbling sound of load on load of apples coming in. So in these lines, we see that the poet has used a very powerful imagery. You can feel the swaying ladder. Means the scene here is that someone has placed the ladder. Ladder means shidi, ladder. against the boughs. Boughs means branches of trees. And due to the ladder, and the person is climbing on the ladder, and the ladder moves or sways as the boughs bend. Bend means वाकणे. झाडाच्या फांद्या वाकतायत आणि त्याच्यामुळे ती शिडी जी आहे ती हलतीये, असं जे चित्र आहे ते आपल्या डोळ्यासमोर तयार होते. अँड आय कीप हिअरिंग फ्रॉम द सेलर बीन द रमलिंग साऊंड, द साऊंड ऑफ द ॲपल्स. The person is throwing the sound from the branches, throwing the apples from the branches in the sailor beam, and rumbling sound of those apples is coming because of the load of the apples. A type of rumbling sound is coming there. गडगड गडगड गडगडलेला आवाज जो आहे, किंवा sometimes when someone puts mangoes in a basket, that sound, you are throwing the mangoes in the basket and a type of sound comes there. That type of sound is called here rumbling sound. Next, another example is here from Wordsworth's Daffodils. The poet says, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. In these lines, we find visual imagery. In the last example, we have found visual imagery was also there, that swaying ladder and bending branches. And at the same time, there was images related to hearing, rumbling sound was also there. And in these lines, there is just visual imagery. The poet paints a picture in the minds of the readers of the setting where the daffodils are. So that picture of the daffodils are small yellow flowers, and the poet creates the setting here, describing that these daffodils are beneath the trees and beside the lake, and they are fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Breeze means slow winds. So the picture of that lake and that tree, and below that tree the flowers moving due to the wind. So such type of picture is created before our eye, in our imagination, and we experience that in our imagination. We experience that we are looking at or seeing those flowers and under the tree and near the lake. So such picture is a type of visual image created by using the words, very powerful words or images in these lines. You can see the picture here in this image, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. The picture of daffodils, yellow flowers, a very beautiful image. Here you can find, and such type of image is created in our imagination before our eyes. In this way, we can find the function of imagery from these examples. It is to generate a vibrant graphic presentation of a scene that appeals to as many of the reader's senses as possible. Means the writer uses the words or the images which appeal to the senses. As many senses means we have 5 sense organs. The writer can give experience to our 5 sense organs by using such powerful images. It aids the reader's imagination to envision the characters and scenes in the literary piece clearly. Means, because of this imagery used by the writer, reader's imagination is, or reader imagines the things with his sense organs or he experiences the things described in the poem in his imagination. Characters and scenes described in the literary piece are made very clear by using the imagery, and the reader enjoys the scene or the characters with his sense organs. Then apart from the above mentioned function, images drawn by using figures of speech like metaphor, simile, personification, and onomatopoeia serve the function of beautifying a piece of literature. Means images are mostly drawn or used with the help of the figure of speech, as I told you in the line that very famous line, that is, "Oh, my love is like a red, red rose." We find that the poet has used a simile, but with the help of simile, he has also created the image of a red rose before our eyes, or sometimes the poet uses onomatopoeia. That is, I call you that tick tick of the clock. Sometimes the word tick tick creates that particular sound um, in our imagination, and we experience that sound, or we think that we are actually listening that sound, or the sound is coming, and we are hearing that sound with our in our mind or in our imagination. So such type of figures of speech are also used to create images in the poem, and they or this imagery creates a beautiful effect in a piece of literature. It beautifies the language, as well as it brings out the clarity in understanding what the writer wants to convey us. So let's stop here, and if you have any doubts, you can post your doubts in the Google Classroom or WhatsApp group also.